In the past, I have relied on both Velcro and craft holsters for my various handgun housing needs. For the past year, a shoulder system from Gelco and an Alien Gear Cloak Duck 3.5 has served my shoulder carry and IWB strong side and cross-draw carry needs for my Glock G23 Gen 4. With both being more than adequate, I needed something in an OWB cross-draw setup. Craft holsters, as before, answered the call. This is the Range Ronin, and this is yet another journey in my firearm journeys that might interest you. Stay tuned, because I would like to tell you all about it. In the past, I have reviewed the Craft CH4051 Raptor OWB cross-draw holster for the 1911 and the CH4131 Raptor OWB cross-draw holster for J-frame revolvers. While the Gelco Classic Light 2.0 and Alien Gear Cloak Duck 3.5 holsters filled the needs at the time, I needed a cross-draw holster that better suited cross-draw carry during the colder months, and perhaps the summer months when I happen to take a woods walk wearing my favorite band purse vest. I needed something with a better draw angle than the Alien Gear Cloak Duck 3.5 could offer, and one that would lessen the weight on my shoulders from the Gelco Classic Light. I'll get into those things a bit later. The CH4059 open-top cross-draw holster, called the Wolverine, seemed suitable enough to give it a try, and one was ordered. Within a week, the Craft CH4059 open-top cross-draw holster was at the door, as it was in stock and shipped quickly. The cardboard box in which it was shipped was opened only to discover a nice drawstring nylon bag that protected the holster. Retrieving the holster from the bag, I wasn't surprised at what I had retrieved, as it was, after all, just another version of the two OWB cross-draw holsters that I already have. First of all, why my choice for this holster? Like most cross-draw holsters, this one is also an excellent choice for my sedentary everyday activities, such as driving and spending hours on end sitting while creating my review scripts, as I do. I also believe it to be an excellent choice for anyone who's had shoulder surgery or back problems, as I have. At the same time, the holster's cant prevents the butt of the pistol from sticking into my stomach, as it does with the Alien Gear holster when set up for a cross-draw carry. Now, allow me to get into the holster's construction. As mentioned in the specifications, the leather material is premium Italian full-grain leather, and thick leather it definitely is. Double stitching is used at critical stress points, but the primary securing medium is high-quality glue, although you will never see evidence of such on the outside of the holster. A highly stitched and glued band prevents the holster's collapse when the pistol is not in the holster, which is a highly sought-after feature in a holster of this nature. The bottom of the holster is open mouth to allow water and/or debris from remaining inside the holster. The finishing edges is excellent, with nary a seam showing on the holster body, but a seam can be viewed where the anti-collapse band is attached to the opening of the holster. Not a deal breaker by far. The profile of the holster is of the pancake style. Considering that the Glock G23 is a blocky piece of work, profile is sufficient in being flat enough to lower the profile without taking away from the functionality of the holster. A mild sweat guard protects both the body and the pistol, while also assisting in the holstering of the pistol, a very important safety concern among Glock toters. You can see, or at least I think you can, how the holster conforms to the body of the G23. The trigger guard area is squared off to accommodate the square trigger guard of the Glock, and there's a slight bulge at the front end to accommodate the front sight. Note that this holster can be ordered for the G23 that has a taller front sight. Just make sure that you note that in the ordering details of the website. Also, and since the CH-4059 open-top cross-draw holster, Wolverine, is an OWB, or outside the waistband rig, you may want it in a mahogany finish, in lieu of the black that I ordered. You can specify the color that you want, along with thread and border edging colors, also at the website. You want it monogrammed? No problem. Just indicate that as well. 2 belt tunnels are provided that will accommodate a 1.5-inch belt width maximum. The first channel is integrated into the body of the holster, while the second, forward channel, is on the wing of the holster. Also, and by default, belt slots are compatible with 1/4 inch thick gun belts. Note the contour of the holster and how it is arched inward to conform to the body shape. While stiff when new, this forward section breaks in after the holster is worn for a while, after which it will better conform to your body than when new. Now, just to mention, there are 2 leather versions of cross-draw holsters from Craft. This model, the CH-4059 open-top cross-draw holster, Wolverine, code IT400, and the cross-draw holster code IT131, which has a steeper holster cant than the one that I am reviewing. This steeper cant places the butt of the pistol more to the front and lower on the body than with the Wolverine. I prefer the angle of cant of the Wolverine simply because it makes the holster and firearm easier to conceal, which I will talk about later in this presentation. There is also a nylon version of the cross-draw holster. The cross-draw gun holster code IT Charlie 826 for those who prefer, unlike me, nylon to leather. But before I digress too much, back to the Wolverine. The finish of the holster is excellent, with the color not quite being a true black, but somewhat of a dark grayish black that is evenly applied, which is something that you can darken up a bit, if you like, with a good black leather dye and polished product and a good buffing wheel. The holster is polished to a nice and subtle satin finish, and the fine grain of the leather can be seen. Now, let me talk about breaking in of the holster and also introduce you to a word that you may not be familiar with, but will need plenty of. The key word in describing the break-in of the Wolverine is PATIENCE, and that spells patience, which you will need plenty of, lest you become a PATIENT of your own impatience. Leather holsters sometimes need breaking in before they can adequately house a handgun of your choice. Sometimes the break-in comes easy, and sometimes the break-in comes not so easy. 3 products that I do highly recommend for breaking in this holster is the Premium Holster Care Kit from Craft Holsters, the Gelco Draw Ease product, and 1 or 2 freezer-grade quart-size freezer bags. Let's go from there. The Glock G23, or any Glock pistol for that matter, is blocky, with plenty of square, albeit slightly rounded edges. Leather is pliable, but may need to be more pliable with Glock pistols over some other types of pistols with smoother rounded edges. Sometimes trying to get a block Glock in a holster is like trying to insert a square block in a round hole. To begin with breaking in of the Wolverine, don't do what I did, and what most of us have the propensity to do. Test fit the pistol to the holster as soon as we get the holster out of the box or bag. Now, let me tell you why. There are 2 crucial retention points with the Wolverine, as there are with most holsters. The molding at the front of the holster's trigger guard, both front and rear of the holster, is what retains the pistol in the holster. With a dry holster, I attempted an initial test fit. Once the G23 was fully inserted into the holster, it took a wooden dowel against the muzzle of the pistol and a mallet to free the pistol from the holster. While I did want retention, this was a little bit, no, way too much. While trying to support the holster, the muzzle was whacked with the wooden dowel, while trying to keep it aligned with the muzzle while whacking the wooden dowel with a mallet, all while trying to hold the holster above a padded surface to catch the G23 in case it just popped out of the holster, which it didn't. I felt the trigger guard free up from its retention points in the holster, and I was able to draw the G23 free of the holster after that. Lesson learned. Also, and before the G23 was inserted into the holster, the front edge of the G23's trigger guard hit against the lower mouth of the holster. Some twisting of the G23 overcame that, and the pistol inserted. As I said, way too far, which caused the hang-up. I can guarantee you that every expletive in my vocabulary was used when attempting to free a stuck G23 from the holster. So, here is a much better way of breaking things in, while not breaking out the expletives in your vocabulary. Using the break-in fluid from the Premium Holster Care Kit from Craft Holsters, liberally spray the interior of the holster on both sides where the trigger guard retention is evident, and I do mean liberally. Let that sit in and soak for a bit. Next, with the Gelco Draw Ease product, place a liberal amount on your fingers and then swab the interior of the holster, again where the trigger housing retention points are on both sides. Let that sit and soak for a while. This is where the fun begins. Now, as a tip, as you are doing the next phase of break-in, squeeze the holster as shown in the image. This will help to expand the inside of the holster outward and will make the next phase a bit easier. Place the pistol in a freezer bag, enough to where the pistol is covered but can be retrieved by holding onto the grip. Insert the bag and pistol into the holster's mouth while working the pistol side to side to begin conditioning the sides of the holster. Insert the bag and pistol only to a point before the trigger housing retention points. Let it sit there for a bit. Now, begin removing and inserting the bag and pistol out from and into the holster, with each push inward being just a bit further in than before. Keep doing this for about 25 or 30 strokes, and then remove the bag and pistol. Repeat the application of the break-in fluid and draw ease, and let it sit for a while more, after which repeat the insertion and removal of the bag and pistol at least until you tire from doing so. Next, leave the bag and pistol in the holster for, say, overnight. The next morning, remove the bag and pistol from the holster and do a trial fit of the pistol without the bag. You should find that the pistol inserts a lot easier than when you began the break-in process. Also, you might feel a slight resistance, a tug if you will, when pulling the pistol from the holster. When you feel that the pistol can be inserted into the holster and, more importantly, retracted from the holster with relative ease, it's time to move on to mounting the holster onto a belt. The next phase of conditioning the holster is mounting it to a belt and adjusting it to where on the body we wish to carry. As stated previously, the belt channel can accommodate a belt width of 1.5 inches and a belt thickness of 1/4 inch. At first, the rear belt channel will make inserting a belt tight, but with use this frees up somewhat. I would recommend inserting the belt into the first belt loop on your pants first, then the front holster belt channel, the rear holster belt channel, and then through the remaining belt loops of the trousers. Position the holster without the pistol where you want it, and then tighten the belt as much as you need to. Since I wear a buckleless belt that secures with Velcro and inner belt for a duty belt, my approach is a bit different, as I can thread my belt as normal, retract the left side from the front belt loops, and then attach the holster from the rear belt channels first. Follow up with the front holster belt channel, and then through the front pants belt loop. And, by the way, do all this test fitting without the pistol installed, and if installed, do so with an empty and safe firearm. The position of the holster on the body makes a difference. I prefer to position the holster to where the holster's rear belt channel is just on or just forward of my left hip bone. This places the butt of the pistol just forward of my stomach, and to a position where I can easily draw or insert the pistol. If I am wearing an outer garment or garments, shirt, vest, and coat or jacket, which I usually am during cool to cold weather, the butt of the G23 is well covered, concealing it from the view of others, but is well accessible if need be. This position also keeps the muzzle away from the body. With the Alien Gear holster set up for cross-draw carry, the muzzle was pointed too near the femoral artery in my left leg, and which is not a preferred position. With the Wolverine, the muzzle of the pistol is pointed more outward and past my hip bone, which is much more comfortable, and I am not flagging somebody who might be standing behind me, as would be with a shoulder holster setup. Wear the rig and pistol, again unloaded and safe, around the homestead for a while, maybe a day or two, maybe even a week or so, until you are totally accustomed to wearing the combination, while also practicing drawing and inserting the firearm. If you feel that the pistol is still difficult when drawing it from the holster, don't be reticent about redoing the holster break-in until everything works out for you. This difficulty in getting the pistol unholstered may happen as the front wing of the forward belt channel is pulled closer into the body by cinching up the belt, thus placing more pressure on the pistol due to the reactionary closing up of the interior of the holster due to the greater cinching of the belt. As I stated at the beginning, Patience is the key to properly break the holster in, as well as you getting comfortable with the rig and its contents. Now, let me get to my final thoughts regarding the Craft CH4059 open-top cross-draw holster Wolverine. Well, it's done. Properly conditioned the holsters to the pistol, and we are ready to face the public with our new rig with the confidence that we have a secure means to carry, retain, conceal if desired, and access the pistol when needed. The Craft CH4059 open-top cross-draw holster is more than suitable for open or concealed carry when performing activities like shooting at the range, taking a stroll through the woods, or carrying concealed in your favorite supermarket, filling up your favorite vehicle with much needed fuel, and then driving it afterward. Now, there are plenty of Kydex and hybrid holsters on the market for the G23 and other pistols. Most are easily adaptable for different methods of carry, from IWB to OWB, behind the hip, shoulder, MOB, appendix, and cross-draw. Most of them are quality holsters that will probably serve your needs. Finding a quick and dirty carry holster that can be adapted for cross-draw carry is easy, as they are a dime a dozen. But consider, as I did, finding a quality leather holster that is dedicated and highly stable for cross-draw carry. Thanks to Craft holsters, finding one is made easy. For me, I just prefer leather, and while the Alien Gear Cloak Tuck holster worked well for my cross-draw carry needs, it was a bit cumbersome due to its size, and I also could not achieve the position of the pistol that I wanted. Thus, the decision to go with the Craft CH4059 open-top cross-draw holster Wolverine, code IT400. If you carry a Glock or any pistol and are interested in a quality OWB cross-draw holster to house it, give Craft holsters a look. Okay, I know that I presented a lot of information about a simple holster, but I felt, as a consumer just like you, that you might appreciate my effort in telling you all about the Craft CH4059 open-top cross-draw holster before you considered one. With that said, let me end this chapter in the Range Ronin Chronicles with the hope that you found the review informative, which is all I can ask. I hope to see you again in the near future with more gun and gear reviews. Until then, take care of yourself, stay vigilant, armed, and safe out there.